Hey everyone, Corey Walen, managing partner, Bridgemark Strategies. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. More and more, we are speaking with financial advisors that are just getting really, really frustrated with their independent broker dealer or their RIA's service model. The other day, I was speaking with a financial advisor that really made me think of this podcast, and his firm has just been causing him a lot of frustration. The team's calling into the home office. They're getting the wrong answers. They're calling back again and getting different answers after being on hold for extended periods of time. The technology that's supposed to be integrating is not integrating. The things you're supposed to be linking are not linking and communicating with each other. If he updates client information in one place, it's not updating in another. And it's causing the advisor so much frustration that it's really even hard for him right now to take on even additional clients. And the advisor told me the other day, word for word, Corey, I feel like my firm is just growing for the sake of growing and not to be the best for me and my clients. And we're really hearing this a lot. And I wanted to bring the CEO of Bridgemark Strategies, Jeff Nash, on the line today. There's never been so much change in the independent broker dealer space. And I just wanted to bring him on to talk about what he's seeing as well and what he potentially sees in the future. And if this is, really something that resonates with you, what you could potentially do about it. Jeff, I really appreciate you hopping on today.
My pleasure, Corey. Great to be on again.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, Jeff, do you kind of agree? Are you having a lot of the same conversations that I'm having right now?
So not only do I agree, but there's an expression, and the expression in business is if you're not growing, you're dying. And so what that means though for financial advisors and for independent broker dealers, and we've seen this. If we look at the top, I mean, I've been doing this 25 years. If we look at the top, even in the last 10 years, the top 25 independent broker dealers, the first five or six names are still there, but the remaining 20 names have changed dramatically through consolidation, through buyouts. And so been an enormous amount of change. And what that creates is a thrive and a drive to continue to grow, to continue to remain independent. What's now also happening is the drive to grow is also with deal valuations that we've seen in the RIA space that we've talked about on other podcasts. It's also having a trickle down effect on the BD space. And so firms are trying to grow because they're seeing their own independent values growing as well, which is what's also prompting a sell. So all of this growth can be good for the owners of a firm, right? Whether it's the owner of an individual financial advisory firm, or it could be good for the owners of a broker dealer. But if you're being serviced by an individual broker dealer that's not aligned and focused on the same things that you're focused on, which is just high quality service, then it's where you become misaligned. And that misalignment is really what I think we're seeing when we're talking to these advisors is they're at firms, and I think the thought is, hey, maybe these are big firms that are trying to grow too much. It's not. It's big firms that are trying to grow too much. It's small firms that are trying to grow too much. It's firms that have become more and more disconnected with the advisor, with what their service paradigm has been around servicing the advisor.
Yeah, I mean, so you would think that really good service inside of a independent broker dealer or an RIA is really table stakes. But with firms growing as fast as they are right now, whether it's to, remain relevant, if it's kind of a private equity roll up, or some smaller firms out there just don't even have the capital to be able to invest in the right technology or the right talent inside of their organization, to keep that service up. We're having a lot of these conversations right now. I mean, imagine if you were a financial advisor out there and you bought six practices in a really short amount of period of time, maybe, 4 or 5 years. Your current clients would really significantly suffer from that. And that's something that's going on in the independent broker dealer and the RIA space all the time. And with how exponentially fast they're growing, it's almost impossible to continue to staff these independent broker dealers and RIAs at the rate that they need to keep service levels the same.
But I'm going to push back on that, right? So would the original clients on that advisor who buys five or six practices, those original clients don't necessarily suffer in a traditional sense. What there is going to absolutely, I think, undebatable, what's going to happen is it's going to be a different service paradigm. because that advisor who was servicing those 200-300 clients with maybe some support now has 3 or 4 or 5 times that amount with all those acquisitions. There's no way they're going to be able to service those clients. So the clients are going to be handed off to someone else, maybe not with the same level of credentials or experience, right? And so it's a different service experience, and it becomes more difficult for that advisor to be able to control that service experience at that individual client when it's kind of, defrayed through a number of people. And that's exactly what's happening at the broker dealer level. Is the bigger the broker dealers grow, they have to continue to hire more people, right? You get more and more people that are less and less qualified or less and less experienced servicing the client. In this case, the client is the financial advisor, and their service levels have just deteriorated. And so the advisor, and when you think about it, is how would you do that for your own business? And it's a lot of work to do it for your own business, right? And that's exactly what the broker dealers are facing as well, is how do they do it for their business? And candidly, some of them will do better at it, others won't. Some of it will be specific to the individual advisor. They may have a bad service experience and someone else has a better service experience. Because again, you're just dealing with individuals at the firm, and it's those individual touch points that you once were dealing with the CEO, and maybe now you're dealing with 2, 3, 4, 5 layers below the CEO.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great example. And I mean, I think another example, it's not just necessarily the mergers and acquisitions and buying a bunch of firms and putting them together that is negatively impacting the service experience. I also think there's firms out there that are, just trying to be too many things to too many people. Once again, just thinking about it as a financial advisor of your practice, imagine in your practice if you just started taking on every single potential client you could, regardless of cultural fit, investable asset size. I mean, your client base and your service paradigm could really, really suffer. I mean, there's a lot of firms out there in a race to be able to get to scale, to be competitive with some of the top broker dealers and RIAs. They're pretty much taking on pretty much anybody, trying to be all things to all people, and kind of as a consequence, winding up being not much to, the whole population of the broker dealer as well. Do you see that as well, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're talking about, and we summarize it up, is segmentation, right? I mean, a financial advisor business this goes back again. I've been doing this for over 25 years now. And when we started with business consulting on financial advisors, one of the first pieces of guidance to an advisor was, have you segmented your clients? And the reason you segment your clients is to understand, first of all, who might be paying you, who's an A client, and A clients aren't always about, asset value. Could be about referrals. And so when you look at your segmentation of your client base, it's providing a service paradigm that's consistent with the segmentation for your clients. And broker dealers aren't always doing this as well, right? They're providing, dissimilar amounts of service for different advisors. I think it goes deeper though. I think it's not just the segmentation. I think it's the technology tools. And a lot of advisors that are struggling with their firms are struggling with firms that really haven't invested in technology as well. And that to me, right, service, when we talk about bad service, it's such an all-encompassing area. Bad service could be a managerial decision at a local level, right? It could be you're underneath another advisor, and it could be a managerial decision. It could be an actual operational service. It could be compliance decisions, and it could be technology. And I think technology is an area where firms today have to spend enormous amounts of money, even to just be able to pull technologies together. Technology is going through another revolution here with AI, and it's going to be just dramatically different as we look 2, 3, 4 years into the future, even as different as it is today.
I agree 100%. And I mean, I've told you about some of the recent technologies that I've used from a note-taking standpoint and other things that have just truly, added a lot of efficiencies to my day to day that, could potentially take a really long time to roll out at some of these, larger firms or RIAs. Hey, breaking in real quick. I really hope you're enjoying this episode and finding my YouTube channel of value. If you're a high-performing financial advisor that can use somebody as a guide or a resource to explore all your transition options out there in the marketplace, I'm a non-biased, independent transition consultant that can help make this process so much easier for you. And another plus, it costs absolutely nothing to work with me. If you want to have a conversation, please feel free to text, call, email, DM me. My contact information is all over this episode, and I'll let you get back to it. So, Jeff, I totally agree from a technology standpoint. Obviously, technology is going to be a huge driver of efficiency going, forward in the future. For a financial advisor that is, sitting here listening to this today, they're frustrated from a service standpoint. Where do they go from here? What's the solution?
It's the old story. Is the grass actually greener, right? Is the pain to stay greater than the pain to move? And the reality is what we're seeing now in the marketplace, you know, there are firms that are absolutely have a different approach to service. Now, remember, again, service isn't just operational service. So there are firms that can excel in operational service. There are firms that can excel in compliance service. There are firms that can excel in technology service, and there are firms that can excel across the board. And so, but the reality is, the most important thing is don't assume all firms are the same. If you're experiencing some issues at your firm related to service, the number one thing you should do would be to talk to somebody who can help you actually understand, is what you're experiencing systemic of the industry, right? Or is it systemic of your firm? And that stuff, those are the conversations that you and I, Corey, are having every single day. And we're helping advisors to understand that sometimes it is systemic of the industry, but more often than not, it's systemic of the firm. And we're helping them see opportunities. And these are the testimonials that you end up receiving, that I end up receiving afterwards, with how they should have done it sooner, and how thankful they are, and how they found the right firms, and how their business has exploded as a result of these moves.
I mean, 100%. I mean, I think one of the biggest misconceptions and mistakes I think financial advisors make is just thinking that all independent firms and RIAs are the same. But like you said, we research these firms, all day, every day. And based on what you're looking for, could really point you in the right direction on, what aligns with your practice. Firms that are growing thoughtfully, not just for the sake of growing, properly staff their firms with the right people so you can enjoy being a financial advisor again and not, just beat your hands against the desk every single day. I mean, the other thing that I would just say, Jeff, is if you're an independent financial advisor considering a move to independence, or you're any other type of advisor considering independence and you're not having a conversation with us specifically, I know this is self-serving, but I really think you're doing yourself a disservice. We have over 200 years of recruiting experience inside of the biggest broker dealers and RIAs in the industry. LPL, Cetera, Osaic, Ameriprise, and we also have over 100 plus years of managerial experience inside of some of the top independent broker dealers in the space as well. So there's no one more in the industry, if you have true concerns about the future of your firm, that has the better idea to make the best predictions of the future and what that's going to look like going forward. We have contacts inside of these independent broker dealers and have knowledge that other recruiting firms don't have. And we could really, really leverage that to be able to make sure that you make the best next decision for you and your clients. If anybody has any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. These are conversations that we have every day and could really just help make this process so much easier and more streamlined for you. Our contact information will be at the bottom of this podcast, and we really hope we can connect with you soon to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.